Alright, Schlockmeister fans, continuing with the Happy Hooker trilogy. It's time for part 2. The Happy Hooker goes to Washington with George Hamilton. Let's check it out. Our movie starts with a senator getting busted.
What's going on here?
My back hurts. He's trying to fix it up for me.
I think he's trying to fix it up for himself.
You don't understand. He's a chiropractor.
Xaviera Hollander, advice columnist.
Dear Seeing Double, try asking him to join in. And if that doesn't work out, tell him to do it to himself.
Our movie starts out, well, there's an orgy taking place, and Xaviera Hollander's in charge of it.
Check with me in a couple of minutes.
One of the participants has a supplies for Miss Hollander.
What is that, Xaviera? A prescription?
It's a peanut.
So she gets in a lawyer, and it's George Hamilton.
There's a moralistic backlash that's sweeping the country. Now, in the wake of these...
She still has her column, though.
Dear Xaviera, my father tells me if I masturbate, I'll go blind. But I can't help myself. I don't want to go blind. What'll I do?
These 4 men are the senators, including Ray Walston.
only advertised that the main cause is that Hollander woman. I don't have to listen to that crap. You don't. Sharp-eyed people.
Sidney Lassick is at the hearings.
It's amazing what some of these cocksuckers will try to get away with.
So anyway, Miss Hollander is called to the stand, and they basically drill her about sex stories.
23 to be exact. He was on his hands and knees in the living room struggling with his nuts.
And she tells a story about an ad agency she used to work for.
Selling products, Miss Hollander, and you sell a product that we use to sell our products. Now, which of our commercials do you think your particular expertise would lend itself to?
One of her commercials. Basically, throughout this movie, she just tells story after story to the Senate committee. This is another ad campaign, this time for cars.
Gentlemen, this is just another example of the kind of sexual depravity that is undermining American life.
As the day 1 ends, she gets kind of kidnapped by Billy Barty's people.
Miss Hollander,
What is all this about?
you'll find out pretty soon.
She's going to secretly work undercover for the government.
Now, what we want from you is, shall we say, undercover diplomacy?
She has to basically woo this sheik, or the sheik as they call him, to keep him from attending this meeting. So she makes her moves. So she seduces the sheik. I guess she does everything to him, although there's no nudity here. But he ends up missing his meeting, of course. Mission successful. He's so grateful that he's going to give freedom to his people and all kinds of other things.
Of my country amongst my people. Ah, there's enough wealth in my country. That's a lot in every pot.
The sheik disses some dirt about the senators who are grilling her.
Senator Rawlings?
You know him? He's a great guy. He and I go way back in the business of white slave trading.
She plans to turn the tables on the senators.
I can't tell you yet.
Xaviera, I am your lawyer. Now, tomorrow we are going into that hearing, and I feel that you better tell me what's going on.
How's this girl?
Xaviera brings her hooker friends. S&M he had with that woman. Then we see what Ray Walston's character was up to. He was in some kinky superhero stuff with Harold Oddjob Sakata. The movie ends before the hearing does, but we see some aftermath from these people. Needless to say, of course, she won. Hi. Let's talk about The Happy Hooker Goes to Washington, the second movie in the Happy Hooker trilogy on this wonderful DVD here. This one stars Joey Heatherton in the starring role as Xaviera Hollander. And this time, she's an advice columnist, which was actually true life. The real Xaviera Hollander was a sex advice columnist. I think the real one actually worked for Penthouse magazine, I think. And in this one, she's still doing her advice column and everything. And then some senator gets in trouble with some sort of sex scandal. So I guess the morals of this country are going to shit. So they decide to have some Senate hearings. And they call Xaviera Hollander to come to Washington to give her testimony, I guess. Her testimony basically consists of them grilling her with questions. And then she tells stories about some of the events that she has taken a part in. And we see those stories played out. So she's in like this ad campaign for toilet paper, which is a takeoff on Mr. Whipple. Please don't squeeze the Charmin. In this case, the toilet paper was called Boobies. Please don't squeeze the boobies. And then there's some models there whose boobies get squeezed by the old lecherous man. And then there was another one where she was in some sort of car campaign, automobile campaign, where a bunch of women started attacking this guy in a car, stripping him and everything. There was a couple of orgy sequences, actually, which have nothing to do with the plot, other than that's what was happening as the plot was taking place, and she was getting served her papers, actually. Ultimately, after the day one of the hearing, where they find her in contempt, although for what reason, I don't know. But anyway, there's going to be a second day where they talk about that. But then after the hearing, she kind of gets kidnapped by two government people, thrown into a room, and then Billy Barty is in there. And he basically says, we are going to hire you, or not hire, anyway, we're going to use you. The government plans to use her to seduce this sheik, or the sheikh as they call him. He's an Arab man. And they need him to miss some sort of big meeting that's going to happen. So they want her to go seduce him, basically occupy his time, and it will help save the country or whatever. I don't know. So anyway, she agrees to do that, of course. She takes the sheikh, and they spend some time in a hotel room somewhere, and they do it. They do all kinds of things. And then after he's so happy about it, he missed his meeting, of course, but he's so happy that he decides he's going to give freedom to his people, 2 camels in every garage, falafel in every lunch, I don't know, whatever the hell else he said. Then later on, he's telling the story about how he used to be involved in some white slave trade with one of the senators, who happens to be one of the senators grilling her. So she's like, I think I can use that. Well, she does. But actually, she doesn't. Instead, she brings a bunch of prostitute friends of hers to the hearing the next day, who apparently have all had sex with various people, various senators up there. So they never even bring up the sheikh stuff. But anyway, as the senators see the prostitutes, they're like, oh my God. And then we see the stories played out of what each senator did. Ray Walston was involved in some sort of superhero, sexy, kinky fetish thing with Harold Oddjob Sakata from Goldfinger. And then the other senator was involved with some sort of S&M thing with this black prostitute. And then the movie just kind of ends. Xavier, I guess, was not held in contempt, and she was free to go. And various senators had various problems after the fact. We see some aftermath stuff. So anyway, that's the movie. That's The Happy Hooker Goes to Washington. There was some nudity throughout this movie, mostly just topless, and some butts too. Not as dirty as you would think for a movie with a title like that. Is it funny? I don't know. I don't know really what the point is. But it's okay. It's okay. I actually had this on a Kodak tape. In fact, the Kodak tape had all 3 of these movies on here. I taped it off of cable back in maybe January, February of 1985. All 3 Happy Hooker movies. They were on like a trilogy, I think. Or maybe I rented one and copied it. I don't know. I can't remember for sure. But anyway, I had them on a Kodak tape. Now I have all 3 on a DVD box set here, which is actually fairly reasonably priced. In fact, it's like $11.99, I think, on Amazon down below. So that's a good deal. So I'm actually very happy that it's still available and cheap for everyone, because I bought this years ago, and this just seems like one of those things that would go out of print and the price would drive up insane, but it hasn't, thankfully. So check it out. Let me know what you think about The Happy Hooker Goes to Washington, or any of the movies. I'll be doing the Happy Hooker Goes to Hollywood probably next week, and we'll wrap it up. So check it out. Leave some comments. Let me know what you think about it. Happy Hooker Goes to Washington. Watch it. Bye.